Hi, welcome to my channel, Zen and Fit. If you're new to my platform, I discuss various topics that range from lifestyle topics to health and wellness and even mental health. In today's video, I wanted to talk about when you're dealing with so much toxicity and how it can affect your mental health if you allow it to. But before I jump into the video, if you could please do me a favor and hit the like and subscribe button, and also share my channel and my videos with anyone you know of that may be into this type of content would be much appreciated. At one point or another, for many of you, you probably have encountered a toxic individual during your lifetime, whether that's a coworker, a family member, a friend, a supposed friend, I should say, a peer, or even a significant other, a person that you're seeing or that you've been married to, could have been toxic towards you. And so it's very common. A lot of times we do encounter negative, toxic people. And some of these toxic individuals can be even narcissistic. And I'm sure for some of you who have encountered narcissistic people, you know what I'm talking about. And so when you're around a toxic person, they can really drain your energy, pull you down. And unfortunately, some of the most toxic people that you have in your life are usually the ones that are closest to you, like family members, and even when I was mentioning a significant other being toxic. It's unfortunate, but this is reality. A lot of times, it's the people that you associate most often with can be the most toxic. And so sometimes it's hard making that distinction and identifying a person for who they really are, especially when you do have a close relationship with them. It's easier to do, or I should say, it's easier to identify a toxic coworker because you probably don't have a close relationship with them. The only reason why you're interacting with them is because they're your coworker. They work at the same place as you do. But it can be different if it's a family member, especially a close family member, or if it's, let's say, your significant other, someone you're married to, or you're dating. It can be harder to want to acknowledge and recognize those behavioral patterns. And so, in order to set healthy boundaries and to protect your mental health, sometimes we got to be a little more honest with ourselves and identifying people for who they really are and acknowledging it. It can be hard. It can be a hard pill to swallow, of course. But in order to protect your health, you got to call a person who they really are. And so when you have an individual in your life, let's say they're constantly criticizing you, pulling you down, saying negative things about you, and especially if they have narcissistic traits that you're identifying, that's something to really reflect on and take heed of and not ignore. Because a lot of times if you ignore these types of traits, these toxic traits that this person is exhibiting, that's going to negatively affect you in the long run, because you're going to start internalizing all of the toxic things that they're basically projecting your way. You're taking all of that in and you're not setting healthy boundaries to protect your overall well-being. And I want to clarify something too. A toxic person isn't just only an individual that is saying negative things about you or towards you. What makes a person also toxic is, let's say, where they're constantly negative about every situation in life. Let's say, for example, you have a friend, a really good friend that you're close with, and you decide to go on a trip with them. And instead of them enjoying this trip and enjoying all the different activities that you guys are doing together, you notice in every situation while you're on this trip, this person is just totally and completely negative about everything. They don't like the excursions that you go on. There's always something wrong with that. They hate every restaurant you go to, even when it's, let's say, an amazing 5-star restaurant. They still find something wrong with it. They still have something to complain about. That's also a toxic person. And it's not to say that we have to be always happy and positive in life, but when you notice that there's not a happy medium with an individual and they're just constantly on the negative train, never happy about anything, never can find any positivity about any type of situation, even when it should be something uplifting, like going to somebody's graduation. They're graduating, let's say, from medical school. It should be a wonderful celebratory moment and they still find some negativity. They still find something bad to say about even that situation. That's a toxic individual. And of course, that can be draining for you. So when you discover that you're dealing with somebody who is a toxic individual in your life, you really need to start to establish some healthy boundaries with them. Especially if you've already had a previous conversation with them on their toxicity and they're not doing anything to change their behavior. Because again, we only have power and control over ourselves. We don't have power and control over other people. And so if that person is still continuously engaging in these types of behavioral traits, that's where you have to make the decision to say, you know what, I need to kind of separate myself from this individual, especially if it's just like a friend or let's say a peer, a coworker at your job. You try to separate yourself as much as you're able to create that healthy space for yourself so that you're not constantly being pulled into their toxicity. And when it comes to close family members or even a significant other, someone you're seeing or that you're married to, you have to make the decision to say what kind of relationship you want to have with these particular individuals. And sometimes it may be helpful to even go and speak to a therapist to explore what kind of boundaries you can have or what the dynamics will look like moving forward in regards to the relationships that you have with these particular individuals. Of course, we can't choose our family, but when it comes to significant others, our partners, we do have a say in wanting to continue a relationship or not, and only you can make that decision. But sometimes exploring with a qualified therapist can be helpful if you're faced with a dilemma like this. So I just wanted to make a quick video on this particular topic because it's important. Being around toxic people does affect your mental health. And so that's why it's so important to have some kind of healthy boundary and identify people for who they really are when you're seeing certain things and seeing certain problematic behaviors. So I look forward to reading any comments you may have regarding this particular topic. And if you could please do me a favor, if you haven't already done so, if you could please hit the like and subscribe button, that would be much appreciated because that helps me to be able to create more content on this platform. I do typically post once a week on here, sometimes a little more often than that if I'm able to. So until next time, take care.